Hi, it's Nathan here. Section 529A through 529CE of the Model WHS regulations are the new regulations. You know they're new regulations because they've got the letters on the end. And these cover crystalline silica. They were brought into effect in response to the sicknesses that we're getting primarily in the manufactured engineered stone benchtop industry. So the people getting sick for this, it's horrible. You don't just die, you get horribly sick and then die slowly, similar to asbestos. And it's a similar hazard. It's basically dust in the air. And now there is exposure limits which are quite low, but the people getting sick primarily are the ones sort of working in the factories that are exposed to it all day. But these regulations cover all crystalline silica processing work. So it says the main requirement is that crystalline silica substance processing, or CSS processing, needs to be controlled. So CSS is, they have a definition which is any substance that's over 5%, I believe, crystalline silica, but it's bricks, concrete, mortar, that sort of engineered stone. And then it needs to be controlled. The processing of that needs to be controlled, which basically means we need to protect workers from breathing in the dust. The main ways to do that are wetting down. So like if we've got a quick cut saw or cutting some bricks or cutting concrete rather, we have like wet cutting so there's no dust, or dust extraction equipment. And then if there's any residual risk, we wear PPE. So it actually specifically says that you can't just jump to PPE. You need to actually consider or have the engineering controls in place. So yeah, this is very relevant for construction because on every construction site in Australia, they'll be doing this. I think some states have actually got a ban on dry sweeping as well, so you can't do any dry sweeping. So that's the main requirement for crystalline silica processing that affects most businesses. Then they have the requirement to determine what is high risk crystalline silica work, so we have to do a risk assessment, and then it says what we have to consider. So we have to consider the task that we're doing, we have to consider the crystalline silica content of whatever material we're processing. So obviously, like if it's higher crystalline silica content and we're processing it more, there's a higher risk. And then also air monitoring results and any past incidents. And then if we determine that it is high risk crystalline silica work, we have to have a crystalline silica control plan, or crystalline silica risk control plan, which can be the SWMS. You can just make sure that the SWMS meets the requirements for this plan and then say that the SWMS is the plan, but then the plan has to address the risk assessment, so the outcome of the risk assessment, how we're going to control this risk, how we're going to review and monitor the controls to make sure they remain effective, and then also we have to make sure workers are trained on this, and there are courses that are approved by the regulator for workers that are doing this work. And then if they are doing that work, then health monitoring needs to be done in accordance with sections 468, which basically means we periodically need to send the workers off to a doctor to get them checked to make sure we aren't making them sick. That's it.